Guys, to anybody on the call for the delay in getting this going, we'll call the February 22nd meeting to order. Ask clerk to take roll.
Walters.
Here.
Dvorak.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Sarchet.
Here.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I have no additions or corrections. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the maximum proposed property tax levy for fiscal year 21-22. Ask the clerk when the notice is published.
February 5th, sir.
Any written comments for or against?
No, sir.
At this time, I'd like Chelsea to provide a report.
So each year the city is required to have a public hearing for our property tax levy amounts, which exceed 102% from the previous year. So this year we are expecting a 105.17% increase, which is contributed to new valuations being added. So the overall property tax levy will remain the same for the city of Polk City. However, because we have some additional increases in our operating levies, we do have to have a public hearing and resolution approved by the council.
Is anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against the proposed levy rate?
No, sir.
Need a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is resolution 2021-11, approving the maximum property tax levy. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, conversation?
I guess I'll just add a little color. And first things first, I want to commend Chelsea and the department heads and staff. I think not that it matters a ton in the end, but the budget process this year was as strong as anyone I've been a part of, and that's a function of staff's work. I appreciate, like I said, Chelsea taking point on that. The department heads presenting, fair asks. I think for the most part, I think we had discussion on a few, and so I don't know that I can really commend the state for their change in terms of how we do this, because their motivations were less than pure. But I do think it's an important thing for us to acknowledge that we are, while we are keeping the levy rate because of growth, because of increased assessed values, we are growing at that 5%. I do think that's an appropriate move to not, reduce the levy rate to keep the budget the same. We are going through growth, and I think that equitably spreads out the cost of the growth to, in a lot of cases, the people that are moving here. And so I think that's fair. As much as I would like to be similar to the Yankees of the world that are reducing their rate proportionate to how their value is growing, we don't have the commercial base that they do. As much, again, I don't like paying taxes any more than anybody else does, but I do think it's an important step to keep the rate the same. The other thing I really would like to solicit feedback on is the one-page visual, and some of the other information that we put out that we haven't in the past about where that money goes, where it comes from. Want to be as transparent as possible with how we're using any sort of revenue, whether that's property taxes or any other funding. I know we're talking about property taxes here, but again, I just I think putting out more of that information is good for people to be educated and understand where we're coming from. So if anybody has any questions on what some of those icons in the visual mean, or what some of the categories mean. Love to talk about some of that stuff because I don't know the categories are always super intuitive or the understanding is there. Obviously, not raising the tax rate is an important move, and just for context, it puts us, very low in ranking with the other metro. And again, not that whether you're low or high makes you good or bad, but I do think that's an important parameter for people to be aware of, that our rate is pretty competitive comparing other metros. So. I think those are all my thoughts on this year's tax rate.
Anybody have anything else? If not, I think I got a motion and a second. I'd take a roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is public comments. This time and place for comments for any item of those in the public hearing. Ask the clerk if anybody's on the call.
No, sir.
Moving on, consent agenda. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, conversation? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is resolution 2021-13 approving pay app number 6, which is the final retainage release for the 3rd Street and Bridge Road intersection improvements project in the amount of $15,179.55. There was a memo in your packet if anybody has questions. Otherwise, I'd take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sarchet, Walters,
Sorry. Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Motion carries.
Dip.
Sorry, froze up.
I just needed to hear Anderson's vote.
Okay.
I didn't hear Anderson's name. My vote would be yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next item, Snyder and Associates December 2020 engineering invoice in the amount of $22,454. Need a motion, please.
Mayor, you skipped B.
I did. Oh, I rotated over too fast. Sorry, my eyesight's getting bad, I guess. Next item, first reading of Ordinance 2021-1200, amending Chapter 155 of the Building Code. Who would like to speak to this?
I can. So before you tonight is an ordinance amending the building codes. And we are amending to the 2018 International Building Codes versus 2012.
Questions or a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now I can flip it over. Next item, Snyder and Associates December 2020 engineering invoice in the amount of $22,454. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Abstain.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, third and final reading of ordinance 2021-1000, amending sewer rates. Take a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Questions? Roll call.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, third and final reading of ordinance 2021-1100, amending water rates. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Walters,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
yes,
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, reports and particulars. I'll go just real quick because learned of it this morning and just want to send best wishes out to the Burns family. Ed Burns passed away apparently yesterday or this morning sometime, and Burns have been a staple around Polk City for a long time, and just want to extend my thoughts out to their whole family. That's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
I've got one, a couple notes from, I guess, from the MWA meeting. There was some discussion and the board approved, I think it was about a 40-cent increase for the recycling rates. I think that equates to 10-ish%, somewhere around there. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's maybe important for us to watch that. Obviously we were the only metro community that wasn't charging recycling rates up until this last year. So the timing of that isn't great from that perspective. Everybody pays the same recycling rates. I think Des Moines may be an exception. So it kind of is what it is. That if anybody that's paying attention, and by me paying attention, that means going to those board meetings. I don't want to make it sound like I'm reading up on garbage and recycling articles in my free time, but there's a lot going on there, and I think that the organization, to the extent that they can control those factors, is doing so. An increase 1 year after we started passing that along, like I said, is great timing. And then I think the MAC group met the day after we last met, and they did a really good job of running through potential legislation that could affect municipalities. And I think there are a few local control issues, and there's a good amount of concern with some things. I don't think there are any on the table that are as impactful as 2 years ago were, but we'll see how things proceed through the funnel. There are a couple. I've got a pretty good list for anybody that on the council that may be interested on. There's a council person that's on MAC that's also a lobbyist, and he does a pretty good job of listing bills that are favorable to municipalities, unfavorable, and some way, in the middle. So it's good to know. I did have a good discussion with a couple representatives that were there, and I think they're dealing with a lot of COVID stuff and some other things that aren't as impactful to us, but just wanted to pass that along from our last discussion. That's all I got.
Anybody have anything else?
Mayor, I do have something for you.
It's all yours.
All right. Last meeting, Rob, you had asked me to look into some traffic issues up in Lost Lake area, Broadway in particular. We had, prior to that request, had deployed our speed trailer there towards the end of November. So I did go back and pull the data from that and just had a little bit of information for you regarding the speeding and as well as traffic accidents along Broadway for the past 3 years. Ultimately, the speed data came back with an 85th percentile reading of 39 miles per hour. Speed limit there is 35. Essentially what that is saying is that that's the speed at or below what 85% of the vehicles traveling during that study were going. So my understanding is it also does like a 5 up, 5 below factor in determining the speed limit, and that would fall right within that range. So with that, and there's nothing there to say there's an issue with the current speed limit. And then I also pulled the traffic accidents for Broadway from 3rd Street all the way to the city limits for the past 3 years. And within that area, we've only had 4. 2 were alcohol or drug-related OWI accidents. 1 was a car versus deer, and the 4th one was a individual backed into a piece of construction machinery. So no serious accidents in that regard either. None of which had any injuries. But
Okay.
ultimately, I'm not seeing anything there with the speed limit that's set in that area to be any issues from what we have from our data and history in that along that roadway.
Okay, thanks, Chief. I appreciate you doing that. I know it's probably not one of the funnest things of your job to respond to that stuff, but I do appreciate your diligence. I may follow up with you directly just so I relay that as appropriately as possible.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
That's all I had though.
Hey, Chief, just out of curiosity, you did that traffic or the traffic count like last month or something?
This was actually done in November of last year. So
I would just be curious if that changes in like July,
yes.
Saturday, Sunday type, you know what I'm saying? I'm just curious for my own sake. I'm just interested and curious.
Yep. Yep, we can definitely run more. Typically when we do put that trailer out, we do run the study so we have the information should we need it. This was done on another inquiry late last year, so we just had that information available.
Again, not if you guys got other things to do, it'd just be interesting to know if the difference what the difference would be summer versus winter going up that area towards the beach and all.
Yep, absolutely.
Anybody have anything else?
Mayor, I do.
Yeah, go for it.
We've had 3 resignations of paid on-call staff in the last couple weeks. So we'll be recruiting heavily, and the best way to recruit is word of mouth. So I'd ask each and every one of you to reach out if you know of somebody that's interested, wants to give to the community. We'll certainly take their help.
Okay.
I just had one other thing to say. I want to thank Mike and his staff here for the recent snow plow events. You guys have done a stand-up job, doing a good job moving the snow and avoiding hitting people that jump out in front of you. So appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
You do a good job in the cul-de-sacs.
I'll let Toby.
Can you
Pass
promise?
it on.
I would like to thank Chief Sipker for the end of the year report. I thought that was really nicely done, profiling all the officers, their achievements. I really appreciated that with the statistics, and we never had that before, but I wanted to thank you for the time and effort it took to put that together as well, because it couldn't have been a very quick ordeal, and it really got to know the officers a little bit better because growth and turnover, et cetera, in addition. So yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? Amy, it's been a long time since we've heard your voice. Can you just say hi for me?
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
I
thanks.
was just thinking it's so good to see everyone.
I just haven't seen you for a while. So anyway,
I'm
that's
around.
all I have.
Let me know if you need anything.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
Jason wants to hear from the lawyer. What?
I do. I miss Amy. I haven't talked to her.
Around,
There you go.
I'm just kidding,
Yes.
Amy. I like you too.
Yeah.
Good to see everyone.
Thanks, Amy. All right. Anybody have anything else? Otherwise, Ron? Ron, you want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Everyone.
Bye.